Every time life runs you to a breaking point, you will give up and quit. You will back away and run. You will say, this is too hard, this is too emotional, this is too stressful, and you will back away. You cannot be a champion until you have survived a breaking point.
It's easy to become distracted, especially with all of the chaos that's going on in the world right now. But you have work to do. And so it's important that you keep your focus in the right place. It's important that you keep working towards crossing the finish line.
It takes courage to achieve your goals, man. It takes courage to be successful. It's scary. Being like everyone else, doing what the masses do and following the herd, that's easy. It's easy to be comfortable. It's easy not to try. It's easy to give up. It's easy to stand on a sideline and watch while other people with courage go out and get all this for themselves that you want for yourself.
Courageous people are those who have a dream and set a goal, they make a plan, and they take the first step with no assurances and no guarantees that their efforts will result in success.
But adversity isn't something to fear, it's something to expect, something to prepare for, and something to overcome. The truly courageous person is not immune to fear, but it plays a different role in his or her life than it does for other people.
Every successful person you will ever come across has failed big, has failed often, but failure wasn't failure where they gave up. It was where they just learned what not to do and how they can go about it in a different way. They used every experience. How can this teach me about being a better person, to have better, to achieve better, to become better?
But most people spend their life not wanting to deal with the pain of rejection, the pain of defeat, the pain of being disappointed, the pain of losing, the pain of failure, the pain of being criticized, the pain of not being liked, the pain. That's called life.
Don't react against a bad situation. Merge with that situation instead, and the solution will arise from the challenge. Because surrendering yourself doesn't mean giving up, it means acting with responsibility.
Now, don't get me wrong, fear is always going to be there, all right, no matter how hard you work, but you've got to start fighting back. You've got to start training your mind to beat fear down when it pipes up and tells you these lies.
If you want it, then go and get it. Don't wait till everything is perfect, because it's never going to be perfect. Your greatness will never be perfect. Some of the greatest minds, the greatest thinkers, the greatest innovators were looked at as crazy. They weren't ready for their greatness. They just took a leap of faith. Jump and grow wings on your way down.
We're built for struggle, us human beings. You're not after the bubbles of bliss that Dostoevsky described in Notes from Underground. We're built to contend with the world. We're built to contend with reality. You want a challenge, and the best way that you can take on a challenge, because a challenge fortifies you. So you don't want to be secure, you want to be strong. And you get strong by taking on optimal challenges. And so you lay out your destiny in the world, and you take the slings and arrows of fate, and you make yourself stronger while you're doing so. And you might fail, and fortune might do you in, but it's your best bet. And people that have extracted unbelievable successes out of catastrophic failures. And I'm not saying that in a naive way. I know perfectly well what happens to people. You're doing fine in life, and then you get cancer, and then 6 months later you're dead. And all the heroism in the world isn't going to save you at that point. But that's not the point. That's not the point. Life is bounded by mortality. But that doesn't mean that you don't get out there and contend, and you develop by contending, and you minimize the net amount of suffering in the world. And that's something, man. That's something to do.
So occasionally, and this is true for everybody, if you live long enough, life will come for you at some point, right? Like something's going to happen. So occasionally life will stress you. But when life doesn't challenge you, I think it's important to challenge yourself, because otherwise you're just living in this optimal environment, air conditioning, and everything else is super easy. You can get all the information in the world at your fingertips. You never have to if you think about how crazy just eating is in the modern world. So previously, when we lived in tribes, you had to expend energy to get calories. At a minimum, you were foraging for berries, but otherwise you probably had to run something down and kill it, or part of a group hunt, or all kinds of other things. Now, you can get calories without expending any. All you have to do is just tap like Uber Eats on your phone or something, and it'll show up at your door, and you can just sit on the couch, which is, of course, like a recipe for poor health, but also just the game has completely changed now. We've transcended a lot of our evolutionary programming and natural situations. And so you need to be careful about designing that to serve you rather than to work against you, because it can very easily nudge you in the other direction.
Dare to go forward. Winston Churchill once said, courage is rightly considered the foremost of the virtues because upon it all others depend. Courage is the chief distinguishing characteristic of the true leader. It is almost always visible in the leader's words and actions. It is absolutely indispensable to success, happiness, and the ability to motivate other people to be the best they can be. Follow through on your vision. In a way, it is easy to develop a big vision for yourself and for the person you want to be. It is easy to commit yourself to living with complete integrity. But it requires incredible courage to follow through on your vision and on your commitments. You see, as soon as you set a high goal or standard for yourself, you will run into all kinds of difficulties and setbacks. Refuse to compromise. You will be surrounded by temptations to compromise your values and your vision. You will feel an almost irresistible urge to get along by going along. Your desire to earn the respect and cooperation of others can easily lead to the abandonment of your principles. And here is where courage comes in. Stick to your principles. Courage combined with integrity is the foundation of character. The first form of courage is your ability to stick to your principles, to stand for what you believe in and to refuse to budge unless you feel right about the alternative. Courage is also the ability to step out in faith, to launch out into the unknown, and then to face the inevitable doubt and uncertainty that accompany every new venture. Avoid the comfort zone. Most people are seduced by the lure of the comfort zone. This can be likened to going out of a warm house on a cold, windy morning. The average person, when he feels the storm swirling outside his comfort zone, rushes back inside where it's nice and warm. But not the true leader. The true leader has the courage to step away from the familiar and comfortable and to face the unknown with no guarantees of success. It is this ability to boldly go where no man has gone before that distinguishes you as a leader from the average person. This is the example that you must set if you are to rise above the average. It is this example that inspires and motivates other people to rise above their previous levels of accomplishment as well.
First of all, you have to remind yourself that it's okay to feel the way you feel when you're going through a difficult time. It's okay to feel weak. It's okay to want to cry. It's okay to feel overwhelmed. Just reminding yourself that it's okay. This is my number one way of how to find strength in difficult times. Is reminding yourself the way you feel is okay. To honor that feeling, to accept that feeling, to actually be okay with that, what we see or what we perceive to be a weakness or what we perceive to let us down or what we perceive is a sign of, instability or insecurity. We've got to remind ourselves that when things are tough, it's okay to feel that way. There's nothing wrong with that. Any difficulty I go to, I look to moments in history where people have endured the same pain, if not more extreme, and analyze, absorb, and connect with how they got through it. I like to see what they were thinking. I like to see what they did. I like to see how they structured themselves. I like to look at how they organized. I like to look at who they were speaking to. I like to look at what was going through their mind at that time, because you've got to remember that any challenge we're facing today, we've faced it before as humanity, right? Beyond ethnicities, beyond color, race, creed, beyond backgrounds, beyond all walks of life, as human beings, we've been through challenges before and we've got through them.
You need the courage to risk failure. You need the courage to endure constant setbacks, disappointments, and temporary defeats. You need to learn to deal with failure by realizing that it is an indispensable prerequisite for success. You need the courage to treat failure as an opportunity to more intelligently begin again. You need to overcome the fear of failure by doing the things you fear over and over again, and then by resolving to bounce rather than break when things don't work out for you. You need the courage to turn toward danger continuously. Identify all the fear situations in your life that cause you stress or anxiety today. Decide what the worst possible outcome of each of these situations might be. Resolve to accept the worst, should it occur. And then take action to resolve each of those situations. Refuse to allow a fear situation to remain in your life, dominating your thinking and emotions and holding you back. You need the courage to be willing to make mistakes and learn from them. All peak performers continually make decisions, make mistakes, learn from them, self-correct, and carry on.